Welcome to Touched and Empowered, a show created to empower individuals to value their lives by hosting think tank discussions that will inspire positive action. Touched and Empowered with Katie and Ace starts now.
Right, so I also was recovering from a concussion this past month. I went through so much stuff, ladies and gentlemen, and the gift of the concussion was like, I used to have this filter that would hold back when stuff like that would happen. Like, instead of me getting angry and like standing up for the fact that that's incorrectly, ethically, just not something I want to deal with anymore.
Yeah.
When this is why I loved the concussion. The filter was gone.
Yes.
It was completely, like, she remembers, it was completely just ripped off. Somebody tried doing that to me last week, where they were like trying to schedule some type of time with me and whatever, just to sit down and like see if they can generate leads for me, whatever. And they didn't own the fact that they were making the mistake of scheduling a time for me when I asked them to change it as soon as possible. And then they didn't own it. And they were like, hey, we were waiting for you. I was like, this was after 2 times of trying to adjust and change the time, by the way. I literally responded with, you're kidding me, right? And before any punitive action happened from my own well-being, this is something I've changed and transformed. I said what needed to be said, and I said, thank you very much for your time. I have decided to go in a different direction. Feel free to ask if you need feedback as to why I decided on another direction. But I do want to create the firm boundary that I'm no longer going to do business with you because you've already broken integrity with me within coordinating a time.
And with the company that we were working with, we wrote out how the conversation should have been handled. And we don't should very often, but this is, what we as the Teen Suicide Prevention Society, how we would have responded. And if this is something that is trending in your company about not reading the messages that are actually being received, then you need to do an audit of your company.
Usually, if that's a case, that person, from what I remember, whenever I was working at a company with integrity, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to bash them, but
Right.
To be honest, this is like a big learning lesson. If you're going to create integrity, own the mistake, say like, hey, I didn't realize the pattern before. We are going to audit our employees and our own ethical standards or business.
Or do whatever training needs to be done and stuff like that, which is perfectly fine. That's what they said that they were going to do. We just chose not to go any further with that company.
And that's okay. I mean, like, until you see the proof of the change, you can't
Right.
proof, ladies and gentlemen. Once you see the actual proof of the change through action,
maybe.
Then after maybe 3 years.
That's why I said maybe. There was no time attached to that maybe. That maybe could be 3 months, 3 years, 3 decades. It doesn't matter. It's a maybe.
So this is where I come in with the after 3 years. That is my standard. If I understand that at first, if a business relationship doesn't work out, growth needs to happen, and usually it happens within 3 years. And then you're a different person. The other person is a different person, and there's a possibility that you can reconnect and do business with you. Totally cool. If the growth doesn't happen, no, then 3 years doesn't even work. It's just out the window. But here's the best part. When you align and elevate, and then you learn the lesson and let go of the thing that did that thing. Mm-hmm. This is the joy of the concussion. There's just like no boundary between me and my honesty and the audience. It's just pure. Here I am, bursting at the seams. So for instance, the Pearl Agency, this is a company that I just spoke with in regards to the referral process. Separately, they were all like account managers, really good in the field. They knew exactly how to do it. Do their craft, social media, ad campaigns, and get this, they're specifically focused on companies that have some type of, I want to say, public health initiative or public health. So because you're a nonprofit, you're a perfect fit, and it's personal. They like creating custom packages and actually knowing who you are. And I'm quoting their CEO right now. She said, "We want to feel like we're on your team. We're next to you. We're going through the journey with you. Like we are that trusted marketing partner with you." And I went, I am so excited to share you with my network that's been going because of the BS that you just shared, right? Like everyone's been going through that from who I know, unless they're paying $8,000 a month. And I'm like, okay, this company is like the Amazon I was telling you, like your metaphor.
My analogy about Amazon, yeah.
That's exactly what I'm seeing. And it's just amazing. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's just being willing to see that and go through that beginning awkward phase until they become the Amazon of the social media marketing platforms.
Yes. How do you know how to identify that? Like what are the green flags to know that they're going to make it?
I know which ones I am learning to look for, which is a combination of how long they played the game, and if not how long they personally have played, how long have they researched the game? Because there's difference. You know, you can research how to play a game for years before you actually start playing the game. So even if they've only been playing for a short period of time, but they've been researching for decades, that is a big check mark in the yes column for me.
Awesome.
Because they know how the psychology of it. They know the moods, the ebbs. I'm all about ebbs and flows right now.
Oh, it's all rhythm.
I've noticed it. I'm just
yeah. I love, and I'm not saying do you know, I should have worded that differently. What is your experience in understanding those green flags? That is wonderful that you said that. It's true. Another thing that I'm happy to share. I'm hopefully
no, go.
Cool, thank you. So we talked about why I go by ACE, right?
I believe so, but to be honest, I cannot recall.
Cool. I embody it that much. I'm very excited about that. Thank you.
I'm pretty sure you told me, but I can't say I know.
All right. So, lady, fun insider. My full name is Mary Grace, with the birth name my mother gave me. I go by ACE for short, not only because it actually is in my name, so I love the name, but my first love was poker.
That's right.
So within poker, those skills are translatable everywhere. So understanding that metaphor for what I've actually understood in any industry, everything is translatable into the next industry. So for instance, there are habits that you can see from somebody that's been a server, that's been a giver, somebody that's been a telephone marketer, like all of those skills, right? They aren't wasted. Like for instance, you hear me talking. Do you know how long it took me to develop this shy girl to have this voice and just be like, like it's not, that actually took a lot of work, and it's based off of interesting skill building. So you can build these skills anywhere. Now, when you use them at the times when you need them, and you like that crucial moment, right? When everyone is freaking out and you're the person who can actually take initiative and do what needs to be done in order to get things moving. That is the biggest green flag for me.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, they're going to make it because they're grace under pressure.
They're the ones that can not only cut through all the BS, but can motivate everyone else to go forward.
Exactly. And another thing that's just like such a big component that works almost as a stroke of luck sometimes. Now, here's
Oh,
what
yes.
right? Yeah, sometimes. But here's how you follow up on that. When you make the mistake, the biggest green flag for me and the giant red flag too. Let's color guard that red flag right there. If you make a mistake and if you apologize sincerely and figure out a way to balance out and make up for the mistake and make sure that that mistake never happens again, and you prove that mistake will never happen again after you apologize, that's how I know you're gonna freaking make it. If you make making it like an actual excuse, saying I'm sorry about that and then doing it again, that's an excuse. That's not an apology to me. But if you are actually like, I'm so sorry, I totally didn't mean to send that email to that group of people. I will figure out why that happened and I will adjust whatever I need to adjust to make sure that ever never happens again. And then you come back, I figured out why it happened. I actually labeled them the same name, like same community label on that email, and all the confidential information that shouldn't have gone to them went to them. I am so sorry, that will not happen again. Here is the change, and I know it's not going to happen again now. And then 2 or 3 times after, it never happens again. 3, right? 2 or 3 times. That's how I know, green flag, that person has grown, that person is a keeper, that person is an asset.
And it's, even if it's not the whole, what I would call the whole grandstand of, I made a mistake, let me show the world how much I've grown from this mistake.
That's actually worse. No, you're supposed to go straight to the person that you made the mistake to.
Yeah, it's okay. It's like, for example, if I have a question on a service that I've received from an individual, I am going to go to that individual and I am going to ask them to clarify, explain whatever it is. So then that way we are good. Instead of, let me talk to this person about their experience with this coach. Let me talk to this person. Let me talk to this. Let me get all of these other people's opinions on this coach. And let me tell them about my bad experience. Oh, wait, I was wrong. Okay, I'm done. And not going back and fixing the fact that I gave this bad information to everyone else.
That's called, thank you so much. I've seen that happen so many times.
I don't know if there's a term for it or not, but I'm just like,
it's called triangulation.
Guilty by association.
No, triangulation. That's actually,
is that what it is?
I can't believe I know that term. Like I've experienced that much that I know the term for this. When somebody does that, right, and you're like bad mouthing somebody to get, and you're also getting an ego boost.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of the matter is, I've already seen this in the coaching world. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. My referral partners and I are very loyal. That is why they are referral partners. Otherwise, I wouldn't be working with them. If any of my referral partners ever did that,
they're not a referral partner anymore.
Not a referral partner. And I actually kind of do this in a good way, because like the thing is, that is dangerous.
Yeah.
Not only is it dangerous, I've lost 2 companies for that. I went through that experience. I remember that. That type of stuff, that's not integrity. I call that BS for sure. And here's the that. But it's also another thing is like, you are also gossiping without realizing it. You think you're asking for advice and then getting the ego boost from the people that are helping you and putting you in the air quotes wrong, right? This is why it's so important to have really trusted people around you.
Well, it's one thing to ask, what's your opinion, or have you worked with this person or this coach before? What was your experience like? Versus, this is what my experience was, and it seems a little bit shady. What do you think about it?
Yes, that is actually the conversation you're not supposed to do. Like
Yeah,
you should
don't
start
do that.
if you like. I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of people do because they're getting used to it. But so we have colleagues, and I'm going to put it out there on this podcast because transparency is real. I don't care. In the sense of like, if you really want to work with me, this is how it's going to be. Honestly,
Right.
People within our own network and people within a ring of our network and another ring after that, I heard about that type of behavior. 2 referral partners that don't even know each other before they even tried to make the 3rd sale.
Wow.
Why do you think I didn't say yes to your program? This is so important. And I had to learn that so importantly, so immensely importantly, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. You need the true people around you who are going to have the courage to come up to you, say, hey, look, this is what happened. I don't know how I feel about this. I feel a little uncomfortable. Could we address this and see how we can resolve? Is this a miscommunication? Or I apologize, did I miss something? What happened? Or vice versa, you come up to somebody, hey, I made a mistake. I apologize. I don't know if it was a blip in your system, but I don't want to cause confusion with you and your clients because I made this mistake. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, those are the types of conversations that I know, green flag, I can work with you for a lifetime. Like, that's great.
Oh yeah.
The moment somebody gyps out on that, it's already a done deal, kind of like what Katie was saying. All right, we're done. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you so much. We're just gonna, okay. And then because I already have colleagues that I know I can trust, and I'm not saying this is like one of those, you need the right team around you, the one that encourages, empowers, doesn't negative talk. Is that negative talk? Without creating a resolve, putting any type of action to create some type of harmony. You can actually act before you even do that.
And that right there, I think, is one of the key steps.
You can,
that and having people around you who are a term that I recently heard that I absolutely love, become your pushy angels. They are the ones that will call you out on your shit in a loving way, in a teaching way, in a guiding way. But they're not going to let you get away with that crap.
Those are honestly, so in Nichiren Buddhist philosophy, from what I've understood, do you know what the definition of an enemy is?
No.
And hey, ladies and gentlemen, you can quote me on this. You can actually look it up in writings of Nichiren Daishonin. An enemy is somebody you won't say what needs to be said to. Like, you literally won't tell them what they did wrong. It's a lack of compassion. It's actually a lack of courage.
Okay. I can understand that. I was confused there for a second, but I can understand the whole lack of compassion part of it.
That is, it's because it compassionately, in a loving way, you can say to somebody, hey, you really hurt that person with what you said. Like, I think you need to address that and talk to them.
Yeah.
And if you do that, right, you've compassionately helped somebody see a pattern so that they never do it again, and then karmically get whiplash from it all the time. Sometimes you don't have that awareness. Like, oh my God, I remember this one time I was doing something and I didn't even know. And somebody was like, hey, by the way, like, could you, instead of putting a mic cover on this, can you put it on that? So that you can actually, like, it's very simple, very small thing, but it took 3 people to actually get to me, tell me to my face, hey, could you do that? Before I even got there, to like, once I heard it, I was like, oh yeah, I'm so happy to. Thank you so much for telling me directly. because I wasn't
Like
aware.
Like I said, push the angels.
But that's loyalty. When I hear positive and constructive feedback from somebody, I know I can trust them.
True.
I don't need a hype man to put me in my ego. That's not necessarily what I'm looking for. Genuine sincerity and praise and just like harmonious working together, that is fulfilling enough for me.
I agree. Because it fills the soul.
It does. Oh, do you know how draining it is to be around people that just insincerely like boost your ego? That doesn't do anything. It just puts you in a place of like delusion, and you're just walking around thinking that,
you know what it does? It makes me think of those actually this is absolutely horrible. They make me think of the cheerleaders from high school.
I was a cheerleader, Katie.
Like, I know, that's why I'm like, it's horrible that I'm saying this, but I'm sorry.
Cheerleader, it's fine.
There were two types. Okay, in my high school, I could see that there were two types of cheerleaders. There were the cheerleaders who were like serious about their craft and loved what they were doing, and then there were the cheerleaders that were there just so they could have the title of being a cheerleader.
Yeah, I was the first one. Well, thank goodness. Yeah, I was not the second one.
But the whole insincere hype about boosting people up and stuff is like, okay, that's just the people who want the title but not want to do the work.
Yeah, so all right, let me tell you a small little vignette about that. All right, so I cheered for 7 years. Right, I did competition for 3 years, and then when I got to high school, you could tell, like, if you made varsity cheerleading, you were freaking amazing. Like, you were, yeah, like you actually put in the work to build what you needed to do and like do it. You actually put in the conditioning to do everything we did. I'm going to explain that in a second because it was really intense. But if you weren't hacking it, like if you weren't willing to put in the work, you usually you made JV. Like, it wasn't. Yeah. I accidentally made varsity. Not accidentally. I was shooting for varsity. Don't get me wrong, I was, but I didn't know that like none of my friends were going to come with me.
Yeah.
To varsity, like we were all trying out. They made it to JV, and
I did not do cheerleading. I did what was called Pom Squad.
Okay.
Which we were the baton and flag twirlers with the marching band during football season, and had our own separate types of pom dance competitions that we did. And I tried out to support my friend who wanted to be part of the team. I didn't care whether or not I made the team or not, because that was not really something I was interested in. I was just doing it to support my friend. So I learned the routines to help her practice. And I remember doing my routine. I remember goofing it up. I made some kind of misstep or raised my arm when it should have gone down or whatever, but I just smiled and kept right on going. I made the team. She didn't.
That's usually how you make the team. So like, I actually remember, I remember my sophomore year of like high school, photographic memory. It's always fun. And I remember like going out for the team, and I definitely put in the work. I'm not going to lie. I was like really diligent. And the reason why was because the varsity team was amazing. Like, they would do these stunts. They would create these like amazing just
experiments and
routines that I was just like, I want to be able to do that. And then when I did the first 2 weeks of training, I was so beat.
Yeah, it was exhausting.
My muscles were sore for 6 weeks straight. Like, I'm not even kidding, because we had to do those stunts where we throw people that are like 100 pounds or so in the air. And I was a base. I wasn't a flyer then, funny enough. I was strong enough to like, more than enough by the time I was done with cheerleading. Like, we would throw people in the air 5 times. This was you have to do the same stunt routine 5 times, perfect, and then move on to the next routine. If you don't, and let's say you mess up on step 5,
you're cut.
you got to do it again. You have to do do the stunt perfect once, twice, third, fourth, and fifth time. And then you're done with the set. Even if you messed up on the fifth one, like that means you have to start again at one.
Oh, that's rough.
That's what I did. That was conditioning. That was throwing somebody in the air full swing. That was putting somebody up in like a one, like just one arm up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was how I learned everything else. That's actually how I, not in a way that it's masochistic, but that's how I understood. You know what they say about geniuses and masters, right? Like they practice so much at something that there is almost zero or no room for error.
Yeah.
I learned that, and I knew how to do that in everything that I do. So like, for instance, selling. I wasn't good at sales. I was not good at sales. But I kept practicing. We were supposed to do motivational, we were supposed to do speaking in college, our first year of college, right? As a core class.
Right.
I was so freaking scared of speaking. Can you imagine this? Like 18-year-old me, I was so scared of speaking that I waited till my senior year. And I like tried to avoid the class altogether. And I'm there with the freshmen speaking in front of people. And then I just kept practicing, and I had to keep practicing because there were things that I wanted, and I knew those skills were so important. My senior year, and this is going to be interesting. I'm going to love it when like people from high school, college, I don't know, like my career listens to these podcasts and they're like, I didn't know you were going through that. So my sophomore year and senior year, my junior year and my senior year of high school were actually the most traumatic experiences of my life at that time. I was like going through 2 or 3 people passing. My grandparents passed a year. Okay. Like that year, I remember I was going through serious depression. Like it was like I didn't attempt in high school. I don't remember attempting in high school, but I remember the thoughts were just continuous, like they never stopped. I remember I did cut that year too, like senior and junior year. Do you see how much has changed? I had just utter self-loathing for 2 years. And I remember having friends just look at me like, what the heck is wrong with you? Get up and do, like, you're late, thinking that I'm lazy, when in honesty, I was in despair almost every day, dealing with grief, anger, sadness, and toxic relationships in high school. Like it was bad. And, I didn't take it seriously then because of all of that. But I did take certain things seriously when I enjoyed what I love doing.
And that's what I think we miss out, because there's going back to high school, there were so many things that I did not enjoy about high school. There were a few things that I absolutely loved, but I had to fight for those things. And I think that's just what made me love them more. I mean, being part of Palms was not something on my radar my sophomore and junior year of high school. But I fought to stay on that team my senior year, even though I broke my right femur the summer between my junior and senior year, and had to relearn how to walk. But I'll be damned if I was not showing up to the competitions in uniform, even though I was on crutches. Because I was determined to stay a part of the team. Now, granted, I was not considered part of the team, I found out afterwards. But you know what? It didn't matter. That's what I wanted to focus on because it helped get me walking again.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I did every activity I could to stay busy in high school so I wouldn't go home.
Yeah, I did after I actually started working at the age of 14.
Same.
So I did not have to go home.
Yeah, I honestly like at the time, so it took a lot of therapy to figure it out, and I actually do have an incredibly harmonious relationship with my family now. So like I don't want to speak badly of the past in that regards, but it was really bad. It was really tumultuous. I think every day I was just like, why am I alive? Like literally every freaking day. And I also understood to kind of get myself out of that, I needed to be doing things. I needed to be building something. I needed to find a way to move and kind of create my own life. So even if I didn't think it was going to last long, right? What I really want to show you, like, especially if you're in high school and you're listening to this podcast too, it is such a beautiful world past that environment. And I, with the Teen Suicide Prevention Society and, the Dialogue That Saves Lives and being able to plant these ambassadors across the United States, I really am on that mission with the Teen Suicide Prevention Society to end that possible nightmare from occurring across the US ever again. It is so important because if I had that dialogue, then I know I would have enjoyed almost every day of high school.
I know, well, I don't know, because unfortunately I've had friends who have died by suicide from high school. I don't know how the conversations would have helped them or not. I believe that they would have, if nothing else, let them know that they were not alone in that negative echo chamber.
That's what saved my life in high school. I had friends, all of us actually at the time, it was so common and more common than not. Like it was not even just like it was kind of like a regular saying. In New Jersey and New York at the time, from what I remember, like somebody came out to a friend group once and said, I'm having suicidal thoughts. I don't know what to do. And I was like, I kept it to myself, but I was like, you are the 12th person to tell me that this year. That year. And then, when you trust someone, 12, it was so common in my home environment that I think it was rare to find somebody who didn't have suicidal thoughts. Like the moment somebody said, oh, I don't think that way, I'm like, how?
Yeah.
What? Like my 8 friends that didn't make varsity. No, I'm just kidding. My friend groups, like I remember every single one of them being able to share their hearts with me, not necessarily just in confidence, but in like in an atmosphere of like, hey, we need support. We need to just keep going. How do we keep going? And all of us saying, we're there too. We're here with you. Like, let's just keep going. We can laugh at what we can laugh at. Let's just keep going.
Yeah.
And then eventually we'll make it out and we'll be able to accomplish our dreams. A lot of us are still working on it. I had no clue that I would ever do everything that I did after high school. I kid you not. I had no idea. I was like, I'm going to be a teacher. And you just either teaching middle school, like biology. Like
let me see. Do I even remember what it was? Let's see. I remember saying I wanted to be an oceanographer. I remember wanting to be an actress. I remember wanting to get married, have the 2.3 kids with the house and the white picket fence and everything else like that. And I remember being terrified of college.
Oh yeah, I remember being so scared of college too.
I was so terrified that I did not go. I got married instead.
Yeah, it worked for you. Like I think
it worked for me. It worked for me then.
Yeah, and everyone has the journey. I think I was so scared of college, but I was so excited too. Like I honestly thought college was like, all right, this is gonna be the time of my life because I'm not gonna be able to like enjoy the rest of my life after this. Like I'm gonna have to work and pay bills and that's That's how I saw college. So I might as well like do the scholarship.
Enjoy it before life gets serious. Yep.
Yeah, like, do all the volunteering hours for free now because I won't be able to in the future. Like that's what I thought. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go into teaching. And then like at the time, because I didn't understand that dreams are possible. I think that was the big reason why I dreaded high school, was because I didn't think that my dreams were ever going to happen.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, I remember somebody asking me in, I think high school or middle school, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to be a pro poker player and a teacher and a barista on the side. Like I wanted those things.
There you go.
Like I thought that was going to be, okay, life is good that way. Cool. We'll stay there. Then I went to school at St. John's, and then I started understanding communications and then seeing how like my editing skills were actually decent. More than decent. They were a little more than exceptional. And the high school that I went to, because everyone was such like my AP Euro class, about 4 of those students got into the top 3 Ivies. And then I think 1, 2, like maybe 5 of us went to public school, and the rest of them, it was very competitive. So when I thought I was just doing decent, I found out the rest of America wasn't there.
Yeah.
In the education system. And I just was like, oh. Well, that helps me feel better about myself, one.
I go back and I look at it and I'm like, wow, I really did not have any dreams or this drive on what I was going to do after high school, because I did not push myself. I didn't challenge I was not I pulled A's, but I was not in advanced placement classes. I think I literally graduated dead center of my class. I was not exceptional, but I didn't suck. I was just like there.
Thank you. That's exactly what happened to me in high school. I was just there. Like I was like, I'll do these things, or that's what I thought of myself. Don't get me wrong. Other people probably thought otherwise and maybe had a positive self-talk of me, right. But I did not. Like that was not there for me. Oh. And I remember I just felt like everything I did wasn't necessarily enough. And nothing was making me happy. Little did I know I was having a dopamine imbalance the entire time of high school too. So like,
I think all teenagers deal with the dopamine imbalance, to be honest.
Thank you. Yes, we do. It's like, well, yes, we do. Yes, they do. I look like but like
yes, you do look like a teenager, darling.
That transformational coaching program, ladies and gentlemen, they will actually lose some years off your life.
If not off your life, at least off your face, right?
Do you remember 2 or 3 weeks ago? I looked a lot older.
Honey, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were both under so much pressure that I don't even know where the pressure was coming from. It didn't feel like I was putting pressure on myself. It didn't feel like I was putting pressure on you, or vice versa, or anything. But both of us, there was just this weight. And it's gone now. Yeah. And it's funny because I was joking with my son Austin because I helped him dye his hair green.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'm like, I need someone to help me do mine. And he's like, why? And I said, because I'm going to do mine in unicorn colors. I want the pastel pink, the pastel purple, the pastel blue, just go for it. And my son's like, well, we don't need to worry about bleaching your hair. And I'm like, I got dark brown hair. What do you mean you don't have to worry about bleaching it? He goes, no, you got so much white showing up here, Mom. And I'm like,
oh, that's funny.
I'm like, really?
Oh,
and I'm like, what are you talking about? And I looked at the mirror and I was like, wow. And I didn't have to pay for that either.
I got a lot actually under the mirror. I'm not gonna. That's funny.
I actually had someone tell me not to dye my hair because people go to the salon to purposefully have their hair bleached to look like my white hair. And I was like, wow, that makes me feel special.
That's me. Like I would spend like, $300, $400 to get to that level of like,
oh my gosh, dude, just take some of mine.
All right. But Thank you everyone for joining. I know we're coming to a close.
On completely random topics as we come to the end of the show today.
Wonderful random topics, but I want to say, like, hey, stay tuned. Do you see this transformation that's already happening? I can't imagine, like I have like some type of blurry abstract understanding. Thank you, divine source. Of what's going to happen to us soon. And look, this is like the start of our transformations. And I think it'll be really exciting and compelling for you to enjoy this journey with us. Feel free to keep looking back and going, how the heck did they do that? And then feel free to enjoy our programs so that you know how we did it and experience it.
And feel free to send us messages.
Please.
And let us know what you think is going on.
Yes.
Because if nothing else, we'll have fun answering the questions.
Exactly. And yes, best questions, some of the best questions. I think we're going to have some time in the future for answering questions in our podcast. So please send them now, and then stay tuned. You may be picked next time, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times from now. We'll be excited to hear from you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful week and enjoy your transformations from here.
Thank you for joining us. We hope that the discussion today will inspire you to take positive action in your life. Until next week, be empowered.